Right. Welcome to another fanfiction reading. And it's been quite a while since I've actually done this, and oh boy. That okay. So, even though my friend hasn't texted me back yet, I'm still gonna go because I can't be wasting too much time. So, this is Unseen Love by bumblebee288. And we're going to start it. It is 7 parts according to this, so we'll see how long this takes. Okay, that's 1 part done. Just the beginning. Yang's POV. I was on my bike, Bumblebee. No, I would have never expected. Going faster and faster and faster. But then I was stopped by a tall faunus with bright crimson hair and bull horns. Adam. He was back. Sorry. I slowly got off my bike and started engaging my gauntlets. He had Blake. She was lying on the floor beside him, covered in blood, staining her clothes. Well, 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 if it isn't the hothead blonde, said Adam as he pulled out Blush, his sword. I could feel my face burning up. Oh, how much I wanted to feel my fist going into his stomach and letting him fall to the ground. My eyes turned from lilac pools to a deep red as I watched him pace around her, smirking at her as she bleeds. I ran over to her and held her as I started feeling hot tears come down my face. How could you do Ah! How could you do this to her? I screamed at Adam, who only smiled slightly and started walking faster towards me. Oh, trust me, love. I'm going to do the same to you. You didn't have the time to write out the extra letters. This is not like you're texting someone this. You're like actually like to be professional, or sort of. He said, charging towards me with Blush in his right hand, getting ready to slice me to pieces. Then I stood up as my hair turned brighter yellow and my fist clenched, and I screamed, I will end you! I ran at him, and he swung a few punches, then I hit him, and swung a few punches, and I hit him square in the jaw as he fell backwards. I pounced and jumped off the wall, and as I sped up towards him, my hair turned to flames. Just as I was about to knock him dead, but then he started fading away slowly. Beep, 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 beep. Damn it, shut up, clock. I reached over and smacked the alarm clock off my bed. I wiped my hand across my sweaty forehead, and I finally started to relax. I had that same dream last night. Edge of my bed and looked down. I stared at the beautiful faunus with raven black hair as I watched her slowly wake up from her slumber. Morning, kitty cat, I said as she looked up at me. Morning, Fireball. Then she got up from the bunk bed and went to the bathroom to get ready for class. Even those few words sent my heart flying. Oh, boy. The real question is, why am I reading all of these? Like, this is already terrible. Okay. On a normal day at Beacon, I was just starting to wake up when I turned over and looked. And when I turned over and looked up, I made contact with golden blonde hair and her soft but serious lilac pools, looking down at me. Just a small action made me blush, so I turned over to hide my face. I didn't always love the name Kitty Cat because I was a faunus, but I learned to accept it because I now knew that it was only meant in a playful way. I smiled at her once I stopped blushing. Morning, Fireball, I said, trying to sound cool as I walked into the bathroom. I could feel her eyes watching me as I walked, and again I started to blush. I closed the door behind me and started to get dressed and brush my black silky hair. I sighed as I looked at my ears and began to tie my black bow around them. But then I felt a hand on mine pulling the bow out of my hands. I knew exactly who it was. I turned around to find Yang holding my bow and giving me a small smile. "Don't hide your ears, kitty cat. I like them," she said, and she turned away with the bow in her hands, closing the door behind her, leaving me with my mouth wide open. This is like... This is so hard to read. Like, I don't know. Like, it's difficult to read this. Like, I don't even, like... Is anybody meant to read this? Like, this is so hard to read out loud. Like, if I wasn't reading out loud, I really wouldn't be having this many problems. Once Blake got out of the bathroom, she smiled at me, letting me know she appreciated what I said. I was being honest. I loved her ears. They were so cute. Oh, I thought it said cat, and I was like, what? Oh, my brain isn't working. She didn't like people seeing them because she didn't want to be treated differently because of her fondest heritage. Wow, that's a lot of the same words. I understood that, and oh god, I understood that and let her be. I handed back her bow, and she tied it around her ears, and we were on our way. We started talking as we walked to our first class with Dr. Ulek. I was listening to our conversation, but then I got distracted. God damn it! I thought I wish I could. What? I wish I could tell her how beautiful what? I wish I could tell her how I feel. Jesus. I stared into her beautiful amber eyes that made me melt every time. They were just so enticing. "Hey, Yang, are you okay? You seem kind of distracted." I snapped out of my daydream and back into reality. "Oh yeah, I'm great," I said, giving her a great big smile, which made her laugh. "If you say so, Yang," she said as we turned the corner to class. We headed to our seats. Why? What's with the repetition? It's not good. We sat down and started taking notes. Well, Blake started taking notes. I, on the other hand, put my hand on my cheek and started dozing. I barely got any sleep since the dream started happening. "Miss Zhao Long, I hope you are paying attention since we will be having a test about the creatures of Grimm next Monday. Could you also tell the class what we were taking notes on?" Blake nudged me and pointed to the title on her paper. "Aura," I said with my head held high as Blake quietly chuckled. Very good, Miss Long, very good." Dr. Ublek then turned around to the blackboard. Okay, good. Okay, good. I assume that was my friend texting me back finally. Now that I started doing this. Okay. Dr. Ublek then turned around to the blackboard. I whispered thanks to Blake, and she gave me a thumbs up as I smiled. What a great partner, best friend, crush I have, I thought to myself. The bell rang, and it was time for free period. I got up slowly while grabbing my bag and paper and headed to meet Blake by the door. See, the good thing about this is there is no, like, incorrect grammar, which is quite nice. Because usually it's like, what does that sentence say? But no, I just can't read, so it makes it sound awkward. No! Oh, there's ads now. Confusion. I saw Yang running towards me with a huge smile on her face. She looked like she was about to explode. Her lilac eyes met my amber ones, and we started walking back to our dorm. We arrived in seconds, and we walked in on... Ruby and Weiss. Okay, maybe there's a few grammatical errors, such as not capitalizing things and, all that type of thing. And, not capitalizing things and capitalizing things it shouldn't be. Anyways, on Ruby and Weiss sucking faces. Woo boy. Okay. It can be worse. It could be worse. Anyways. I always knew they had a thing for each other, she snickered as we started walking away. I started laughing with her, but then we were cut off by John and Pyrrha. Hey guys, what's up? Asked John as he clung to his lover's hand. Not much, just heading out to lunch with this gal. The blonde gave me a little punch in the arm and a smile. Wait, did she just ask me out? No, I'm not jumping to conclusions, right? I don't even know, I thought to myself. Oh, cool. Well, we'll let you guys go. Have fun. Or something like that. I don't know. And the couple walked away back to their dorm. Yang and I started walking once again. Haha, forgot to tell you. Haha, forgot to tell you we're going to lunch. I'm starving. Care to accompany me? She asked as she bowed with her hand held out. Of course, I would love to. I responded as we started walking out of Beacon to a nice cafe around at the corner. She said yes. I couldn't believe it. Maybe she just saw it as a friendly lunch, but to me it meant the world. Yeah, we have been to lunch together before, but it has been just recently that I started realizing it wasn't just a little crush anymore. We arrived at the cafe and decided to order. Lunch is on me, Blake, I smiled, and the raven-haired faunus with amber pool looked at me and gave me a nod and blushed ever so slightly. Maybe it's just overheated. She's just overheated. Whatever. Okay. Like, is pool's really the best way to describe it? Like how, I don't understand why that's something you would want to, say and type over and over. Why would you want... I don't like saying it. It's so weird. Why do I make these life decisions? Anyways. I told her to go pick a table and wait for me while I ordered the food. 2 iced teas and, but then I noticed once I saw the tail and the dirty blonde hair. Son! Couldn't believe it. My blood started to boil. I knew he had a thing for Blake, which drove me out of my skull, and the worst part was I think she liked him back. I mean, I don't hate Sun, he's a nice guy, but I was still kind of jealous. Oh hey, Yang, haven't seen you in a while. Who are you? Sweating and my hands clenched. Close enough. I'm just here with... Oh, is that Blake? I think I'm going to go talk to her. She seems really cool. He smiled and chuckled. Do you mind asking her maybe if she would like to go to the movies with me on Saturday? He asked, and I nodded, not having enough willpower to talk, because if I did, I would scream. He handed me drinks, and I walked back to the table. Once Blake saw me, she immediately looked up from her book and put it down. We ate our food and talked for almost an hour. It wasn't hard to start a conversation with Blake. She was one of the easiest people to talk to. I loved everything about her, those beautiful eyes that made my heart stop and flutter. Her hair, her body, personality, everything about her was just so perfect. What? Everything was just so perfect about her. Can I read? We finally got up and started walking back. We laughed at my puns and jokes all the way back to Beacon. There was an uncomfortable silence between us once we got back to our dorms. This has never happened to us before. We were always talking together. Ruby and Weiss were gone, so Blake and I were alone. I decided to tell Blake what Sun said. So, Blake, I was hitting? Man. Okay. I was hitting my lip. I was so nervous about what she would say. Yeah, Yang? She looked at me so innocently, and my heart leaped. God, I wish I could kiss her, I thought to myself. But that would only make things awkward between us. I knew it. I saw Sun at the cafe. Immediately she started to blush, which made me tense up with anxiousness. He wanted to know if you wanted to go to the movies with him on Saturday. I was trying so hard not to let the tears fall, but one escaped out of sad lilac eyes. I was hoping she didn't notice, or she didn't see it, but unfortunately she did. She looked away from me, which made me break a little inside. Yang, I don't like Sun in that way. I never have, she said solemnly. He's nice and everything, but Sarah's few words made me shudder. She likes someone else, and I knew it probably wasn't me. I'll text him and let him know I'm not interested. At this, I should have been relieved, but I wasn't. I ran to the bathroom with my clothes to get ready for bed. I put my hair in a ponytail, and I took a warm shower. As I felt the water drip down my face and hair, I started to cry. I didn't know why, but I did. I love Blake. I just loved Blake so much, and to think of her with someone else, made my heart ache. I washed myself and got dressed. She must have heard me whimpering because a few seconds later she opened the door. She immediately blushed slightly when she saw me half naked. I grabbed a towel and hid my body the best I could. She closed the door and said she needed me to come out. On my bed. Over to me, put her arm around me. She looked into my puffy eyes and realized I had been crying. I turned away, not wanting her to see me like this, but she grabbed my chin and made me look at her. What's wrong, Yang? I can tell you have been crying. Please tell me what's wrong. She pulled me into a warm embrace, and I hugged her back tightly. I'm fine, Blake. I'm just a bit tired. There's a lot going on right now for me. I lied. She knew that if she kept bugging me about it, I would just shut down. I'm always here if you need to talk, and with that, she held me once again with her arms. I felt so innocent and weak that I started to cry silently. She didn't notice. She climbed down from my bunk and into hers and turned off the lights. I finally stopped crying and wedged myself deep under the covers. By this time, Ruby and Weiss had texted me saying they were going to be gone. They were going to be out for a while. Knowing that my sister was okay made me relax a little. I turned off my phone and started drifting to sleep. About 10 minutes later, I saw some amber eyes looking. What are you doing? She climbed up onto my bunk and laid down next to me. Blake, what are you doing? I was so nervous, my heart was thumping out of my chest. Are you still upset? She asked. Why would I be upset? Well, I don't know. You looked upset. Eyes that made me fall. I scratched her ear, heard, which made me laugh. She pulled away, which made me jump. Hey, Yang, I have a question. I was so nervous. Yeah, Blake, what's up? She just looked at me for a while and said, ever since our, that's the wrong R. That's R, not our, no. I said there weren't like any grammar mistakes, and now there's a grammar mistake. Why? Okay. Oh, maybe, I don't know how many more chapters this. Okay, ever since our last mission, you seem really quiet, and we don't hang out too much anymore, except for today. So I was wondering if you wanted to hang out on Saturday with me. She looked really nervous. I smiled. I knew she could see me because of her night vision. I would love to, Blake. Okay, there's no quotes around that. And with that, she gave me a hug and climbed back down. I couldn't explain it. Is there a chance she likes me? I thought to myself. I laid in my bed. I could still feel her body warmth on me, and it made me smile. I curled up under my covers once again and fell asleep with a smile on my face. I really was falling in love with my best friend. All right. And A Night to Remember. Did I even say the name in the last chapter? I might have. I don't remember. Okay. Oh, this chapter is really short. I can't believe this was happening. I can't believe I asked her out. Well, I didn't really. It's just to hang out, right? Thought to myself silently. She seemed really upset about Sun, and I think she was crying, but I don't really know why. It hurt her to think about Yang being hurt and upset, so she pushed the idea out of her head and fell asleep peacefully. Morning, kitty cat. I looked up and saw the blonde swinging herself over her bunk, and she had her legs latched onto her bed and was hanging upside down. It's like, what? For some reason, my cat self took over, and I leaped up near her and grabbed her face and put our noses together. I ran my hands through her long blonde hair, and she hugged me back. In that moment, I had never felt so safe. I love her, and I enjoyed her company. She was truly amazing. She pulled back and looked at me from her upside-down position. I laughed, and she did the same. She didn't even question what I did. She tumbled to the ground and landed on her feet and did a bow. She then disappeared into the bathroom to get ready for Friday's classes. When she finally emerged, she wasn't wearing her usual outfit. Of course, she had her gauntlets on, but she had her tight blue jeans and a yellow crop top on. As my eyes went further down, I scanned whatever. My eyes stopped on her stomach. She had chiseled abs. I was flustered, but then I noticed a few scars around her waist and stomach. There was even a large one that ran down her abs to her belly button. She caught me looking and pulled her shirt down a bit. I knew in this moment that she was hiding something from me. I got up and walked toward her slowly. I needed to know if she needed help. I was her best friend. I cared about her. I stopped dead in front of her, and she turned her head away from me. My hand slowly grabbed her waist, and I pulled her jean line down a little. She jumped up. She jumped for a second, but then started to relax. I had one hand holding her jean line down, and they were tracing a front to her face. I grabbed her by the chin, and I made her look at me. She was flustered with embarrassment. I finally stopped tracing the scar inside. I looked. They seemed sad. You can tell me anything, Yang. I let go of her pant line, realizing I was slightly tugging at it with my fingers. I pulled her into a hug, and her body immediately started to sink into my arms. She wrapped her arms around my lower back and pulled me into her. I'll tell you tomorrow. And with that, with that, she touched my hand and opened the door to our dorm room and ready to go to class. Jeez. For a whole 6 hours, the only thing I could think about was Yang. Ruby, who was holding Weiss's hand next to us, even noticed. She bumped me, and she really asked me what was up. I didn't really know what to say. Oh, my best friend / crush has probably been hurting herself, and I didn't even know. Ruby and Weiss walked out after class and headed back to the dorm. I, on the other hand, watched Yang run out of the doors and out of Beacon. I got up and started walking after her. When we had been walking for at least 10 minutes, and she still didn't realize I was behind her. Ah! We came to a small clearing, and there was a huge tree that had a hammock attached to it. I was guessing this is where she comes to think. I finally broke the silence, letting her know I was behind her. When she saw me, she took my hand and pulled me into the hammock next to her. I could feel her body warmth. I didn't know what I was doing, but I wasn't scared of trying. I cuddled up near her, and she smiled at me and draped her arm around my body, which surprised me. We laid there in complete silence for a few minutes until she grabbed a blanket, since the sun was going down. My hand ran up the blanket, but along the way it bumped into her hip. I suddenly got so nervous, but what she did next only surprised me more. She grabbed my hand and put it on her stomach. She smiled at me, letting me know it was okay to touch the scars. I ran my hand up and down her stomach, feeling her rock-hard abs against my skin. I then came across a huge scar. I slowly traced it with my finger, and I looked up at her, and she nodded. She was going to tell me. Blake, this is really hard for me to tell you. She looked down at me as I took my hands off her scar and placed them on her face. Yang, I know what you have been doing. I don't know why you have. I looked at her solemnly, but the tears kept coming. Yang, tell me why. I cried in between my few tears. She pulled me up next to her and wrapped her arms around me and held me tight. I'm so sorry, Blake. She then started crying, which only made me hold on harder. Blake, when you ran away, I could barely sleep. In fact, I didn't sleep at all. I laid there in my bed waiting for you to come back. She choked down some tears and then continued. I have cared about you Blake, since day one. It hurt me to see you leave. I love you. When she said those words, my heart stopped. She immediately looked away, but I grabbed her and turned her towards me and looked at her in the face. I won't ever leave you again, I promise, even though that wasn't in quotes. Wow. I held her as warm and silky, but when I pulled away, she looked at me and smiled. I couldn't help it anymore. I just couldn't love her. I what? I just couldn't. I just couldn't. I loved her and had to know how she feels. I was about to say something when she held waist, which shut me up, and she placed her lips on mine. It felt so good to kiss her, like as if someone took all of the weight in my body and got rid of it. I felt her get more into the kiss and wide lips a little, and my tongue slipped into her. Okay. God, it's like, why would I watch this? Not watch. Why would I read these kinds of things? It's so weird. She looked at me and smiled the biggest smile I have ever seen, and I did the same. She pulled me closer next to her and held me. This is everything I've ever wanted. I have always just wanted you. Blake, I love you, and I always have, and I never will stop loving you. Ever since the day we both came to Beacon, you have always caught my eye. I always wanted you, and I just didn't know what to do. Or, I just don't know what to do. Or what to. That's the wrong two! Are you confusing me? I stopped her and kissed her deeply. I felt her lips form into a smile as we continued kissing. Her lips were so soft, and she tasted like lemon and honey. I loved it. But then she started getting... it's at the end. It's at the end. Can we give up? Uh... uh... Uh, uh, okay. Oh my God. I don't know. This one, that chapter is just a little weird, and I don't know. So I think we're gonna give up. I think I need to be done with this story because it sucks. Sorry. I don't know. You know, I'm just kind of like, I don't know. I don't like it, but yet it's like, and I don't know. Like, I don't know what words to say right now, so I think we're just gonna be done. That'll be the end of it. It's over. Let's